There's a special feeling around the Emirates Stadium. The team is flying, we're top of the Premier League, and the process seems to be finally paying off. But it's at this moment where Arsenal can't afford to become complacent. So let's find out how the Cronkies are looking to back Mikel Arteta in January. What's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang revealed about the Arsenal manager? Could Edu Gaspar's Arsenal future be in doubt? And what's the latest team news ahead of Arsenal's game against Leeds United? Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. Yesterday was a nice little win, but now it's to the future. Leeds United this weekend. It's not going to be easy, so as per, make sure to go down there, smash a like on the content if you enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and join the Team 14 revolution as we embark on our journey to 200,000 subscribers. But let's get into all of today's latest Arsenal news. Arsenal's Brazilian star boy Gabriel Martinelli has been on fire of late, and after a goal and an assist against Liverpool, Gabriel Martinelli has been included as the featured player in the FIFA 23 Team of the Week. Now, in terms of the card itself, it looks pretty decent, 92 pace, 86 dribbling, and an 84 rating. And one thing that surprised me so much when I looked into Gabriel Martinelli's numbers is that he has the second highest expected assist in the entire Premier League this season. It's very rare that we find wingers that are not only this creative, but also going forwards are so decisive at putting the ball into the back of the net. Arsenal of course want to extend his contract, but according to Christian Falk, Chelsea was interested in Gabriel Martinelli, but the player wants to extend his contract at Arsenal. This is someone that loves life at Arsenal and everything about it. And under the coaching of Mikel Arteta, Gabriel Martinelli is well on his way on becoming one of the standout wide forwards in the entire world. Moving on to transfer news, according to reporter Pete O'Rourke, he says, "I think Arsenal are busy planning for the January transfer window as well, where money will be available if Mikel Arteta wants to strengthen his squad. The Cronkies are putting their money down and backing Mikel Arteta." We're not actually that far away from the January transfer window, and when you think about it, with the World Cup in November and December, if Arsenal can make it to Wolves away, our final game before the World Cup, without any massive injuries, the return is only weeks before the January transfer window opens, giving Arsenal enough time to negotiate transfers and sign the players they need to sign to strengthen this Arsenal squad to the stage where Arsenal fans are confident that if there is an unfortunate injury to Thomas Partey or Bukayo Saka, Arsenal will have the squad depth necessary. And in terms of the wide forward, well, there is a certain player that looks set to be available, and that is Paris Saint-Germain's Kylian Mbappe, who, as has been widely reported, wants to leave PSG in the January transfer window. Now, this was a player that Arsenal were actually very close to signing back in 2017, as revealed by Arsene Wenger. I've seen a few Arsenal fans joke about it, but I think no matter how much money the Cronkies put forward, Arsenal are not going to sign Kylian Mbappe, especially in January. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans become very sensible in saying that we don't want a player that has the ego of Mbappe, the wages of Mbappe. If a guy is unhappy playing at PSG where he's earning £1 million a week, playing alongside Neymar and Lionel Messi, quite a few Arsenal fans have rightly said we don't need this guy's ego in this Arsenal team. But in terms of more realistic targets, you've got Bayer Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby, and according to Ryan Taylor of the Daily Express, Arsenal have been circling the idea of signing Bayer Leverkusen winger Moussa Diaby, but any deal for the 23-year-old would require an irresistible sum of cash. As the likes of Fabrizio Romano confirmed, Moussa Diaby is a player that Arsenal wanted to sign back in the summer transfer window, but contracted until 2025, and coming off a 17 goal and 14 assist season, Leverkusen set a very high price tag and Arsenal couldn't meet it. And even recently you've had the managing director of sport of Leverkusen say, "We want to keep Moussa for as long as possible. I know a lot of scouts have been sitting on our tribune during our matches because we have a lot of interesting, exciting young players with high potential." So far this year, Diaby has 4 assists and 1 goal, and he's not been in the best of form, but it is worth pointing out that Leverkusen have just changed their manager to Xavi Alonso. Now, in terms of profiles, Diaby is almost the perfect fit. Still very young at 23 years of age, he plays most of his games on the right hand side, but is also able to play off the left. You can see very clearly why Arsenal have seen Diaby as a primary target, because profile wise he is so similar to Bukayo Saka. The only concern about any transfer is Diaby's contract, but he will only have 2 years left on it in in the summer transfer window, and the reported price tag will be around £60 million. Moving on to Douglas Luiz, an Arsenal transfer deadline day target, who Arsenal made 3 offers for and whose contract was expiring towards the end of this season. But in terms of today, Aston Villa have announced that Douglas Luiz has signed a new long-term contract, with Fabrizio Romano understanding the new deal will be valid until June 2026, and the negotiations started right after the end of the transfer market, as Arsenal had 3 bids rejected. That puts the end to our pursuit of Douglas Luiz, and I was never quite convinced that he was a perfect profile for Arsenal to be signing, and he was always going to be more of a backup signing. But going into the future, if Arsenal want to compete with the likes of Man City in these next few windows, Arsenal have to sign level raisers and players that will push our first teamers, and the prime example of that is how Arsenal have signed Fabio Vieira despite having Martin Odegaard. And you even had the left back where Arsenal had Kieran Tierney, but they still signed Alexander Zinchenko. Arsenal are still most likely going to sign a new midfielder in the January transfer window. I think it has to be someone that is of the calibre to compete with Thomas Partey. According to the Football Insider, Arsenal are planning to open new contract talks with Granit Xhaka. His current deal expires in summer 2024, and Arsenal are ready to discuss a new contract after the World Cup. Now, Xhaka is a player that has evolved with the Arsenal first team over the years, and this year has been one of our standout players, and he's definitely earned the respect of the Arsenal fans. But going into the future, is he the profile that Arsenal need to progress onto the next level? Because I believe in the future, Mikel Arteta will want to progress into 2 attack-minded number 8s, and that's why we have signed players like Fabio Vieira. Comment below your own thoughts on Granit Xhaka, and do you believe he deserves a new Arsenal contract? Moving on to Leeds United versus Arsenal. A gargantuan game at Ellen Road as 14th place Leeds United welcome the league leaders in Arsenal Football Club. And Leeds aren't in the best of form and are currently 5 league games without a win. In comparison, Arsenal have won 6 games in a row and only lost once in the Premier League. They might be 14th, but Leeds, especially at home, with the fans behind them, they can be a very dangerous team, as Chelsea fans found out when they lost their 3-0 this season. But in terms of Arsenal against Leeds, we are unbeaten in 9 games, having won 7 and drawn 2. Arsenal are also the best away team in the Premier League this season, and in terms of expected goals, they are only behind Man City by only 2 goals. And 4th in terms of average possession. Leeds are also a team though that like to keep the ball, averaging 52% this season. Leeds are also the best team in the league in terms of successful tackles per match, and are only behind Newcastle in terms of possession won in the final third. Whether it's Marcelo Bielsa or Jesse Marsch, Leeds have always been a very aggressive team and they love to press. What about the team news? And starting off with Leeds, their star man this season of Luis Sinisterra will return from suspension. Leeds are also confident that Junior Firpo will overcome a knock to make himself available. In terms of Arsenal, there is still no Emil Smith-Rowe or Mohamed El Neni, and according to Charles Watts, Gabriel Jesus is expected to be fine to play on Sunday against Leeds, while Zinchenko is still a doubt for the game. As long as Jesus is available, Arsenal are still going to field a very strong team, and in terms of lineups, I believe it will be Ramsdale and goal and a back 4 of Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes and Takehiro Tomiyasu, with a trio of Partey, Xhaka and Odegaard in midfield, and a front 3 of Martinelli, Jesus and Bukayo Saka. Now that is the exact same team that started in our last league game against Liverpool, and the standout thing is starting Tomiyasu over Tierney. And in terms of Tierney, he says it's not on your performance, this is just a tactical change that we wanted to make. Tomiyasu played amazing and the game plan worked, it just shows. Starting Takehiro Tomiyasu was a tactical masterclass, because every time Salah tried to cut inside, with Tomiyasu being right-footed, Arsenal had an advantage. That being said, in this game, the wide forward is going to be Luis Sinisterra, and unlike Mo Salah, he is right-footed. But the fact that I've started Tomiyasu over Kieran Tierney is mainly because Tomiyasu was on the bench in our last game, which does suggest that he's being rested for the game against Leeds. In terms of the tactics, this game is all about the technical security. As we have seen, Leeds are the 2nd best pressing team in the Premier League, but that kind of plays into Arsenal's hands, as the likes of Ben White, Saliba and Thomas Partey all excel under pressure. But as long as Arsenal are able to play their way out of that and get the ball into the final third to our dangerous players Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli and Jesus, there's a reason why Leeds are 5 games without a win. Their defence is there for the taking. And in terms of the Leeds manager Jesse Marsch, he says on Mikel Arteta, the most underrated manager in the league. Incredible job, complex, stable, exciting to watch, amazing job. Taking time, took heat at the start, and seeing the fruits of their labour now. What are your thoughts on Leeds versus Arsenal, and most importantly, make sure to comment down below your matchday predictions. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with an ex-Arsenal captain, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, speaking on Mikel Arteta. He says Arteta can't handle big players. He needs young players who don't say anything and just listen. Aubameyang was essentially calling out Mikel Arteta and kind of saying that he can't handle big personalities. But since then, Aubameyang has tweeted, aware there is a video out there that was recorded just after I arrived at Barcelona, and at the time I still had a lot of bad feelings in me. Arsenal are doing great things this season and I wish my old guys well, just not on November the 6th. So Oba is kind of backtracking here, saying the video is kind of out of context and it was taken when he was still very angry at Mikel Arteta. And in terms of Arteta's response, he says people are free to discuss what they want. I have never been in a better dressing room. It's an absolute pleasure to be in this group. I love this response from Mikel Arteta because he's making it clear his focus is on the current team. But in terms of the Arsenal team, since Aubameyang's departure, we actually played some of our best football straight after Aubameyang's departure. And you've even had ex-Italian striker Antonio Cassano have his say, saying now Aubameyang is speaking as well. He dares to say that Arteta doesn't know how to handle champions. Does Aubameyang consider himself a champion? But he doesn't know how to trap the ball. Ultimately, players are allowed to say what they want to say, and what Aubameyang said, that's his personal opinion. But in terms of myself and many Arsenal fans, we don't really care. Right now our team is performing, we are top of the Premier League, and we have now got a number 9 in Gabriel Jesus that can trap the ball, can score goals and get assists. But what do you guys make of Aubameyang's comments? According to Simon Collins, Arsenal are looking to fly to Dubai for a warm weather training camp in December as they finalise plans for the players not featuring at the World Cup this winter. The club have been looking at possible destinations, with Dubai emerging as the preferred option. The likes of Martin Odegaard, Emil Smith-Rowe and quite a few other Arsenal players are not going to the World Cup. So Arsenal have to find a way to keep these players fit and make sure they are sharp and ready for the return of the Premier League. And so according to John Cross, Liverpool and Arsenal have already agreed to play AC Milan during the warm weather training camps in Dubai. Arsenal have arranged to base themselves in the Middle East so players can fly in from Qatar once their World Cup campaigns are finished. The location does make a lot of sense, not too far away from Qatar, and it is very convenient for all the players that are at the World Cup, and it ensures that Arsenal stay as close as possible. And finally, according to David Ornstein, when you speak to people in the game, there has been interest in Edu from elsewhere. He has had opportunities, but Arsenal are going to hope to keep this nucleus they have got together now at the executive and the player level. So teams have had interest in Edu Gaspar, which is a massive surprise, and some Arsenal fans are going to have their opinions. Whatever you say about Edu Gaspar, he has played a very important part in rejuvenating this Arsenal team. And in terms of transfers, the likes of Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, and even the way that Arsenal have handled William Saliba, credit where it's due, Edu Gaspar has done quite a few good things. But that being said, what are your current honest thoughts on Edu Gaspar and the job that he's doing at Arsenal Football Club? That is the video there and there, so hopefully you have enjoyed, and if you have, smash a like and subscribe if you are new. Make sure to follow your boy on all of the social medias, the links are down below in the description. But that was all of today's latest Arsenal news, and a gargantuan game is arising on Sunday. Leeds United away, it's not going to be easy, but Arsenal have what it takes to collect all 3 points. So I will see you guys next time. Take care, keep smiling, and in a bit.